Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, McCracken on Mondays with friends and Bannister. You're watching the show. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys.
There's a cat right here.
We're a show.
Meow.
It's cold, but silence is coming through that window.
My silence is your silence, as they say in Bangladesh.
Yeah. We were just hanging out there. Hey, just a quick logistical thing before we get going. I was trying to get onto the comments board, and the website is still kind of...
I forgot to fix it. I'm sorry. You know what? It's because it's because you're not using Chrome. That's why.
If I was using Chrome, it would be better, but I'm using Safari. A piece of shit.
Yeah, because it doesn't work in my Safari either, I believe. I may be incorrect about that.
Let
but
me
I can't
open it
remember.
up
I feel like
Chrome.
I just did this last week
In Chrome.
and saw that it didn't work, and I forgot to fix it. So
anyway, I am watching the comments tonight. I know we haven't really had an easy way to do them, but if you want to comment, you want to talk to us.
No, it's just bad in Safari. Look at that.
If you want to do all that stuff and then use a browser aside from Safari.
Well, you know,
talk to me because I'm horribly lonely.
It's also difficult because we haven't had a big viewership lately, and it's difficult to do so because it's sort of in our third season here. You know who are we?
Who are we, guys?
And how do we?
Oh, this is why I don't use it in Chrome.
See, because it works in Chrome.
Yeah.
Anyway, who are we and why are we here? You know, I think that our viewership has decreased in part because of our busy lives, combined with our laziness in general.
Yeah, we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
By the way.
You know, but it's a good it's something to keep our minds moving in our old age so that we don't get stupid and
say we're both
and logy.
Late 70s.
You know, I can't even remember my Facebook password right now. So, you know, that's kind of a problem. Look at this. I literally can't remember my Facebook password. Anyway, so welcome to the show. We got some stuff to talk about tonight.
Some of my favorite things to talk about.
Yeah?
Yeah. Monsters and aliens. And robots. Some of my favorite stuff. And then some things that that piss me off that I'm gonna make fun of.
Oh, that was my password, really?
What was it?
It was your mom.
Big boobs
on me.
Big boobs.
Big boobs. Big
AIDS.
boobs. It was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Boobs is spelled 80085, by the way.
Yeah.
For those of you who didn't go to college.
It was big boobs. 8.
Boobs.
Boobs. Anyway, Brian, what kind of stuff are we talking about tonight?
Well, a whole bunch of Jabba Jive.
Jabba the Hutt?
Yeah, Jabba the Hutt. No. Well, the first thing I have written on here is Vegetable Brain Man.
What's that?
Based on
Brian?
something I read on Reddit that someone had been doing brainwave tests of an allegedly vegetative man somewhere, and were asking him questions, and they thought that this guy was actually aware and was able to respond with his shifts in brainwaves. Now, I went to look this up to follow up to see if I could, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I don't know what that was linked to or if it was fake. But I kind of did news on it. It seems like there's been a bunch of articles on this in the past 5 days on this stuff that basically some study in New York. It was between New York and Belgium. Where was it?
Belgium.
But anyway, vegetative people are not necessarily all completely unaware, as we had previously thought. Again, I had this written down the list. I couldn't really scrape together the information because I'm a shitty journalist.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting idea, and apparently something is happening with something. So look it up. Google it yourself. Do it your own damn self. I'm not your fucking mother.
Yeah. Totally.
Much more exciting stuff. What you want to talk about your monsters, Sam?
Not yet. Let's talk about the marathon because that happened today.
Oh yeah, the marathon happened.
We live in Boston.
The Boston Marathon.
Did you go see the marathon today?
I did not.
When did you wake up today?
I avoided that. I woke up probably when the marathon was mostly over.
Yeah, the marathon was today. I didn't go see it. Brian didn't go see it.
On marathon day, I pretty much locked myself inside.
Yeah, just because it's a big deal. Cat's walking on my arm right now. Anyway, but apparently an American won for the first time. I'm sorry, an American male won for the first time since 1983, or an American won, I think, for the first time since 1983. In 1983, a woman won, and she was American. So that's kind of cool. America, go America.
If you're into that sort of thing.
And that's all I got.
I'm into white people getting schooled by Kenyans just constantly.
On the other side of it, the Red Sox have a game every year, a home game every Marathon Monday, and they lost.
They lost.
So that kind of stuff. I'm gonna fix the camera. What's going on here?
They're definitely the worst team in the Eastern Conference right now. Anyway, right?
They call it a conference, but yeah.
What did I call it just now? I called it a conference.
I know. I said I don't think they call it a conference.
But whatever. Yeah, they do. But are they the worst game in the league right now?
I don't know.
They might be.
I mean, we're like 10 games in. It's not really a.
They're having a really rough season. Even so, even this early on, it's still.
Yeah, we'll bounce back. Yeah. So that happened today. But that's not the only interesting thing that happened in Boston. Boston's all about college. And people in college are students.
Don't I know that?
And students generally
suck
between the ages of 17 and 25. Let's just say in there, college students, 17 to 25. A lot of those kids these days have cell phones.
They're really
cellular devices which they can speak into, and it will communicate with the mothership. Also get internet on.
They're like super walkie-talkies.
One of the biggest colleges in the city of Boston, which is where we live, where the marathon happened, is Northeastern University with like 16,000 students or something like that. Anyway, basically, a bunch of people are idiots and are walking around on their cell phones. I do it too sometimes. I gotta text somebody.
I mean, occasionally, but you're really careful. You
look
step up
apparently,
the side,
there are people walking around Northeastern University like this, just walking like this, with their head down, and walking into stuff. Let me just pull up this article and read you the first paragraph of this article. It happens every day. People walking around, staring down at their smartphones, and as they text or sift through email or music. It can lead to awkward collisions with people, not to mention garbage cans, benches, and doors, and increased pedestrian traffic. As if you can't just look up and not walk into stuff.
Fucking going.
I don't understand. In any case, instead of encouraging people to not do that, Northeastern has actually
enable them.
Northeastern has decided to enable this ridiculous behavior by, I don't know if they're painting lines on pathways or what, but they're basically installing text and walk lanes so that people can text and walk in lines, in drone lines, as they're all backpack to backpack like this, looking down at their phones, walking from class to class. Aside from the people, beside the people that are actually walking like normal people. So it's kind of like, I don't even know what to do with this. Talk for a second. I get my power cord.
Northeastern University is, me and, in case you don't know the town, cluster of colleges that me and Sam went to. Northeastern is right there, and we have some sharing of students.
I live in Boston.
Yeah. So we very involved with Northeastern. This was part of our lives, and
sadly,
I don't like being like, oh, those Northeastern kids, whoa. But sort of, yeah, and this just reinforces all the fucking bad stereotypes that.
Yeah, they are stereotypes because whatever, college students are college students.
Yeah, but it
But this crosses a line.
This is just seriously all wrong.
It doesn't make it's the same it's the same sort of weird vertical integration as it would be It's like Barca loungers.
I don't know what that is.
No, that's no. You know what a Barca lounger is?
No.
Like a lazy boy.
The slow reclining chair?
Yeah.
What's wrong with those?
No, that was a bad example. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's stupid, is what it is. Why would you install?
It's like this is one of those things that I see an article as like I would have expected this to be a gag article somewhere. Like I would have expected this to be on April Fool's
or on the Onion.
Or on the Onion. This should have been.
Like this is an Onion article.
This is an Onion article of something that actually happened.
It doesn't make any sense. It's just it's.
Thankfully, it's gonna fail horribly.
Is it though?
Yeah, this isn't gonna fucking work.
Why not?
Well, first of all,
I mean, it's not. They're not building anything new. They're not hindering other people from doing things. They're literally just painting lines on the path so that people can use it.
People who aren't texting are not gonna respect it.
That's certainly true. I know.
And people getting people who are walking in there, like what they're still looking down, walking. They're still gonna. Well,
this way they can see the lines though. Because there'll be lines painted so that they don't go outside.
Like, how do you get in and out of it? It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, it's not just. It's like Brian. It's just painted lines on it. They don't have to. There's not like turn only lanes.
No, I know.
You just walk in.
And they're one direction?
I don't know. They're probably gonna be on both sides of the thing. Like bike lanes. They're like bike lanes, Brian.
You
don't have to like.
They're designed for fucking idiots.
I mean, yes.
And idiots will just because they're idiots, they'll still manage to fuck it up. I'm positive that this isn't gonna work.
I don't know about that. I think it will work, and that's a bad thing. I think it absolutely will.
If it does work, let's go fucking sabotage. Let's go leave rocks in these things.
You know what it's exactly like? It's like designated smoking zones.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same thing. It's like designated smoking zones. It's saying this is where you smokers go, and then you can smoke. Yeah. It only encourages people to smoke.
Well, except that what's wrong with smoking?
And what's wrong with texting, Brian? What's wrong
Texting's
with texting?
Worse for your brain than smoking, I promise.
Do you promise?
Yeah.
I will bet you $1 million that that's not true. I will bet you $10 billion.
Okay, no, okay. It's comparing texting and smoking. That's not what we're talking about. Texting while walking around. That is just a sign that you are.
I will bet you
not
$10 billion that smoking is worse.
Oh, I mean, obviously it is. But
anyway, the point is, this is stupid. No, smoking is bad. Smokers are jokers, Brian. Smoking is bad for you.
Yeah.
The point is,
it's
terrible.
This is a horrible thing to have happened.
We're turning into placid cattle.
This is a fucking sign of the apocalypse.
Placid cattle, new band name. Placid cattle.
Plastic cattle.
No, placid, not plastic. Plastic cattle. Plastic chattel. That's just sex dolls.
It sucks. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. We'll see. More updates. I'm gonna go down and watch these fucking people.
I'm gonna me too. I'm gonna take a lawn chair down there.
And we're gonna see how it goes.
I'm gonna clap at them.
Hopefully it creates some kind of catastrophe.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna walk in the texting lane just as slow as all the other people, but I'm gonna read a book out loud. I'm gonna walk and I'm gonna read with a book in front of my face. I'm just gonna talk out loud, or I'm gonna like sing or something like that, and I'll walk just as slow as everyone else, just in the line with my giant backpack and my UGG boots, and just play guitar. It's gonna be great. Yeah. Cynical.
Okay, Sam. Hey, you guys know what Sam is terrified of? Is robots. Talk about robots, Sam.
Alright, so robots are cool and I want them, but also we need to be careful. It's not that I'm scared of robots coming to get me right now. It's that I'm scared of the potential of robots and the blindness and stupidity of humanity in the creation of artificial intelligence and it eventually becoming smart enough to kill us and take over the entire world. That's what I'm afraid of. Not afraid currently of the robots that exist, except for the ones that look like people, because that's just weird. But there's a new robot. Well, I don't know if it's new. Anyway, there's a cool robot kind of making the what do you call it? Making the rounds.
The robot rounds.
Making the robot rounds right now.
He's rolling in the robot circuit right now.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna there's videos and stuff like that. I'm just gonna show you some pictures and kind of describe this robot. It's actually a super cool robot.
So this is one you're not afraid of.
This is one that I am not afraid of. A, because it doesn't have a face, but I am afraid of it because it could be weaponized and then roll around and kill everyone, Brian.
Okay.
Anyway, this robot is basically, let me show you some pictures here. Screen share this one. It's like boobs from far away. Anyway, so here's this web page that we're looking at. We're looking at Google Images here, and there's some robots here. So this robot right here. So here's a good picture of it. All right, so this guy right here, basically it's a sphere, and on both sides of the sphere it has 6 legs that kind of can pop out, and it can walk on these 6 legs like a crab, and then it can roll up in the ball and roll around but know where it's going. So you can program it to roll in different places, and it has the control to roll downhill.
Oh!
Yeah, we're good. It has enough control that it can actually roll downhill. Like it won't just roll out of control. But it can roll into places, and then it can no matter what point it rolls onto itself, it can open its legs and sort of right itself and get up on its feet and then walk around. And right now, I'm pretty sure it's not very fast yet, just because it's not a very big robot. It's probably about a foot in diameter.
It's like a basketball size.
Yeah, it's like basketball size. So it's not very fast yet, just because it is very complex. Sort of thinking all these legs going in different directions. But it's kind of a cool idea that there's this sort of little robot like armadillo that can roll around and then like pop up and walk around. This is by
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog, yeah. So by far one of the cooler robots that I think are around right now. Moving away from the sort of anthropomorphized kangaroos and cheetahs and humans of the robot world currently.
Why is there not
also away from the super powerful, scary ones that build cars and also other robots?
How about no?
What were you gonna say? No, before.
Oh.
Why can't you remember? Are you a robot? Wake up, Brian!
Yeah. So robots. So what is the potential for this robot becoming brilliant and evil?
Bombs. If they weaponize this robot, they could turn it into a bomb, and they'll roll it into their place, and then it can walk over rocks.
So this is gonna be a bomb. This robot.
It's a bomb.
Okay.
Basically, except not short-legged and stupid.
Okay.
And it doesn't run in circles. Or go because that would give it away.
Okay. Sure. So other thing happened, guys. We've been updating you. It's something that we've both been involved with for a few years now. The Keystone XL pipeline. It's a giant pipeline they're building from Alberta, Canada, where there's an area the size of Great Britain, I've heard. That they've dug up into a big quarry. They're digging up this pit. Basically. And they're digging up all this oil filled with sand, and they're shipping it through this pipe all the way down.
Not even oil, but tar.
They're shipping tar through this pipeline all the way down to Mexico, and it sucks basically because it's all the research that's been done is like it's kind of the most environmentally the operation on the whole is kind of the most one of the most detrimentally and environmentally detrimental single projects like on the planet by a wide margin.
Let alone the number of times that the pipeline has already failed and bled oil and tar into people's backyards.
That was other pipelines owned by the same group. I mean, there's so many reasons. There's the fact that it's difficult to refine. They've seized the land in Alberta from the First Nations up there.
And the horrible environmental impact of those people.
Yeah, they dig a hole the size of Great Britain. Like, it just goes on and on. It's really bad. Basically, Barack Obama has been in this position where he can veto this. He can stop this personally with him. It's been put solely in his power, and people are arguing that's going to create a lot of jobs, which it really isn't. And for that reason, he's been reluctant to shut it off, even though he was basically elected on an environmental platform.
Well, also because half the government is controlled by lobbyists.
Yeah. So his solution to this has just been pushing it back and back and back and back and back. And I remember the first time I ever got involved with this was in November of 2010? 2011. So, and we were down in D.C. and there was a protest, and he said, we're going to do more research for another year or so, and then we're going to make a call. And that was then, and now this is 3 years later, and he's just announced again his deadline for saying whether he was going to sign off on it or whether he was going to axe the project. Came around again, and he pushed it back for another year or so, I think. And that means that now the deadline is after the midterm, mid-semester, the midterm elections. After which Barack Obama will have very, very little. He will give very few shits about what people think about him at that point. Hopefully. So it does kind of suck that this keeps getting prolonged and dragged out the way it has. But it's now been pushed into maybe territory where he's more willing to sign off. But he pushed it right up Sam's butt. That's the third option. Is basically Barack Obama can sign off on the pipeline. He can completely stop the pipeline, or he can redirect it up Sam's butt.
Which I think is the best option.
It would create the most jobs.
Just pour that tar into the black hole that used to be that.
The environmental impact would be completely negligible because Sam is like this
infallible.
Yeah, look, it's just gonna go right into Sam, and Sam will produce all the energy for the world from that. So it's so obviously the best option. I don't know why it hasn't been. It's really shameful that decision hasn't been made yet to direct the pipeline up Sam's butt.
Idiots.
So we'll see what happens on that. We've been updating you guys on this as long as we have been a show, and we will continue to, apparently. What else?
Yeah, you know. Here we go. In terms of other stupid, junky American things, there's a company called Comcast. Who sucks.
Yeah.
And they want to merge with Tender Love and Care. Nope, not TLC. They want to merge with the Weather Channel. No, Time Warner Cable. Sorry, Time Warner Cable. I got there eventually. They want to merge with Time Warner Cable, which is a big cable provider in the East and other places, I guess. Anyway, this has been a whole big uproar recently. They announced it a few months ago.
I just want to say probably this would mean the Weather Channel would probably be involved in here somewhere.
I mean, somebody owns the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Nobody owns the Weather Channel.
No, the Weather Channel is autonomous.
Anyway, so, I mean, it's on every cable station. It's on every cable provider. Anyway, the reason this is bad is because it would allow for, this is why there aren't monopolies, because when one person corners the market, they can make the prices whatever they want them to be. There's no healthy competition. There's no reason for them to not charge what is fair. Already, Comcast has been found to be throttling certain websites and limiting bandwidth to things that compete
Yeah, this is only a few months after the net neutrality bill being
net neutrality, exactly. One of those big people that everybody knows about is Netflix. Comcast has already been found to be throttling visitors that have Comcast and try to get to Netflix get slower service when they go to Netflix, because Netflix is a direct competitor with Comcast's main thing. What do you call it? Main product.
Yeah.
Which is cable television. And so they don't like that. So this big merger with the Weather Channel would be really bad because they would own a much, much, much bigger section of the cable television population, the people that have cable television, and be able to make the price basically whatever they want. I can only think of a few other major competitors. Verizon and Cox and what's the one in Boston? RCN. And there's lots of local ones and stuff like that. But anyway, this is kind of just a really bad thing because Comcast sucks. And we have Comcast.
Yeah.
We're broadcasting directly through Comcast right now.
Yeah.
And the way that I justify that is by every time we have this show, hoping that Comcast realizes what we're doing and shuts us off.
Yeah. Then we'd have some...
Comcast, please shut us down.
We have... Yeah.
Comcast, I don't like you, and I don't think anyone should ever use your service.
Mm-hmm.
Cancel us.
And I'm going to decapitate your CEO. How about that? You think that's enough?
I mean, no.
Let's see if they notice.
You know what you should do, Ryan? You should tweet it and see what happens. Yeah. Because then you would be arrested probably or something. We live in a police state, people.
Yeah.
Straight up police state. Some more news that is kind of off topic. Yeah. I've got a whole political thing going in my head right now. Recently, a group of... Did I talk about this last week on the show?
No.
I don't think I did. A group of not scientists, but politically inclined.
This is the think tank in Oxford or something, right? No, sorry, keep going.
That's not what I want. Whatever, I don't know.
I heard of this.
A group of people, a group of smart people, basically analyzed America. And
these are non-Americans. I think most of them were in the UK, right?
Sure. Yeah. Smart people somewhere in the world.
This think tank
even if it was Americans, it would be even better. But whatever.
They were based out of Cambridge and Oxford, I think.
England.
Yeah. Smart British people.
Anyway, the point is, they analyzed America and the politics and the social, blah, 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 and culture and everything, and basically, concluded that America is no longer a democracy and is actually an oligarchy, which is a oligarchy is just when there's a small group of people that hold all the power instead of democracy, which is we vote and then people that represent our votes then tell the government what we want. That's how democracy is.
I've been telling people this for years now. I don't know why.
It's not that no one doesn't believe you; it's that nobody cares. Also, you don't have a degree from Oxford and also Cambridge.
I got a degree from the School of Hard Knocks.
I don't think you do. You went to art school.
I got thrown out of the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Anyway, so that kind of sucks.
I mean, it's just that I heard that and I was like, yeah, like I was amazed that people haven't noticed this yet.
I know it's kind of, but it's more than just some people have that, and it's more. It is no longer a democracy. Is what the big deal is, because it still functions as a democracy and has obviously since it was founded. But it's now smart people are saying it no longer functions as a democracy and functions now as an oligarchy. Yeah. Which is interesting. And also terrible. Oh wait, I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about, but now I don't remember what it was. Oh well. What about you, Brian?
I'm cold.
I'm just gonna wait for you.
I'm gonna save my ROM for the end.
Let's talk about other countries.
Other countries.
There are lots of other countries in the world besides America. America isn't the only country, guys.
Yeah.
As hard as it may seem, as hard as it may be to believe that, America's not the only country. There's China and Fiji, and
I believed that I lived in the country.
Niger.
I believed when I was a little kid that all of the United States was called Massachusetts. And I think
I totally believe that you still believe that, right?
I think some part of me retained that.
Anyway, there's a country called Scotland, and in Scotland they call lakes lochs. And in one of these lochs, which loch is it?
Loch. There's different than the lochs you put on bagels.
Which loch is it?
It's the one called Ness.
Ness?
It's named after a video game character.
Yeah. Anyway, there's the Loch Ness Monster exists, kind of. Actually, Brian, talk about the Loch Ness Monster.
Well, the Loch Ness Monster is a monster who lives in Loch Ness. That much we know for certain.
Uh-huh.
But it's one of it falls into the category of lake monsters. These are in the paranormal world, people say they see these things, these humps or long protruding necks with heads on the ends coming out of lakes. They're all over the world. We have one in Lake Champlain up in Vermont. There's one. They're all over the place. There's one in the British Channel. There's one in the San Francisco Bay. I can't remember where Ogopogo is. He's somewhere in Canada. There's the big fucking worm in Iceland, but that's a different thing. So anyway, lots of people say that they see these lake monsters. I mean, they say, are they dinosaurs? Are this and that and that? But Loch Ness Monster is one of the most famous ones. There are reports going back to there was, I think, a monastery on the shores of the lake, in the Middle Ages, and they were the first one to start making reports of a monster that was, coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been photographs, there have been hoax photographs, and lots of research done to see if there actually is something that we don't know about living in there. That was a terrible explanation.
What's part of the mythology? Talk about the mythology.
Well, what about it?
And the disprovenness of it.
Disprovenness? Well, it's lake monsters are really tough. They really don't make a lot of sense ultimately. And especially like Loch Ness, there actually really isn't a lot of good evidence. The best evidence has been almost entirely discredited by this point. There was the surgeon photograph, which is a really famous one that people see all the time.
The famous one.
It's the famous one that's just like a plesiosaur like coming out of the water. And that was that guy actually, I think his son who helped him fake the photograph came forward, and then they did analysis. They're like, oh, obviously it was fake. How did we not see this before?
Yeah.
And people still like put that up like on their as their fucking profile photos on their paranormal blog things. People just can't.
Come on, guys.
There was
get your head out of your butt.
What they called the gargoyle head camera photo was taken by an underwater camera. They found the log that they think was responsible for that photograph. They found a piece of fucking wood. A guy scuba diving one time was like, "Hey, that's the thing."
That's what they parodied in Simpsons or Futurama. Remember when they had the mask, the Halloween mask?
Yeah, it was Futurama. Yeah. They've talked about the specific heat haze conditions on Loch Ness. I think and lake monsters, it just doesn't make it it's not that much water to catalog, and having something that's landlocked and have a large population have a sustainable population big enough to be reproducing of animals that large in a lake doesn't make a lot of sense. But people keep seeing them, saying they see them. People keep, saying that they have photographs. And actually, Champlain has probably the best evidence of a lake monster, where they actually have echolocation that doesn't match echolocation clicks that doesn't match any known animal.
Interesting.
And there aren't echolocation in freshwater animals anywhere in North America anyway. I don't think.
What about porpoises?
Central South America, freshwater.
What about manatees?
Manatees don't echolocate.
What about salmon?
Salmon don't echolocate.
Freshwater salmon.
Freshwater salmon and saltwater salmon, same thing.
What about saltwater salmon?
Saltwater salmon.
What about the bears that catch the salmon?
Bears echolocate, but only in flight.
The point of all of this is that there's been new developments in the search for the supposed rumored Loch Ness monster found on the satellite imagery that you can get on your telephone with your GPS app called Google Maps or Apple Maps. I just looked it up on my phone to see if the picture was fake, but in fact, it is on Apple Maps.
Yep, there it is.
Here, let me pull up a little screen share here for you. Basically, there's a little fuzzy thing that looks a lot like a really big fish, like a huge boat-sized fish in Apple Maps, and you can see it right there. It's pretty big because they pull out right there, and you can still see it. So it's a large it's obviously a large artifact, let's call it for now, on the lake.
Yeah, and just to let me show it. See if we can show it.
Yeah, see if you can show it on there.
Just sure that's the real deal. There's Sam's phone with Apple Maps open.
Okay.
And
does that look okay? Can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see stuff. Zoom in now.
Okay. So here's the lake. Does it still look okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's the lake, really big, and then we zoom in. And right about there, you can start to see it, and then we keep zooming in.
Yeah, there it is. There, you're right on it.
And
now.
you keep zooming in, and and there it is.
Yeah, it's pretty fuzzy on there, but you can see it's the same thing that was in the picture in the article.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. I'm in Apple Maps right now, and there it is, and it looks a lot like a whale-shaped fish. Some kind of fish-shaped whale or shark-shaped whale fish. Or
yeah, it's a very interesting thing.
Possibly a whale with fish friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's pretty interesting, and I didn't know about this, but I clicked a link in that article, and apparently you can see a similar shape on Google Maps, which I'm about to look up right now.
Yeah. Where this story is in development.
In development. Breaking news, guys. Loch Ness.
The breaking news is that Sam just realized old news.
Hey man, this is from 2009, okay? It's not that old. But this new one is from just recently, this past week. Yeah. Let me see where this one would be.
So the Google Maps one is old. The Apple Maps one is new.
Is fairly new, yeah. And they may have updated I'm sure they've updated the maps actually since that last Google Maps article was posted, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'm gonna keep looking anyway because who cares what I do?
Well, let's screen share this one in the time being.
Right.
The first most striking thing is that if we're looking at this on the far right, I mean, this one's much less interesting, like kind of convincing to me. But compared to the other one, it does look like it's really similarly shaped. It kind of tapers off in the back. It's got a little arm and this kind of big lumpy head.
Big fins. Yeah, it does. But then there's also these two other things to the left and this kind of skull-shaped ghost in the middle. But really, the two things to the left, which kind of make you think that maybe this is just some sort of reflection spot or artifact in the lens or something like
waves,
that.
Bubbles.
Yeah, or big waves or something like that, because it's hard to imagine that the Loch Ness Monster has friends that it hangs out with.
Well, you would have to. It would have to have a sustainable population. These things.
Or it's just really old, Brian.
No.
Anyway, so that's kind of cool, Loch Ness monstrosity, and it, maybe that's a thing. Brian is looking up right now.
School of fish from surface. None of those are from. Well,
see, but they won't make a shape like that,
Well,
I think
but will they? How do you know? What do you know about schools of fish?
Well, I've seen schools of fish.
School of
before.
fish.
I've seen them before. I've seen schools of fish.
Google Earth. Let's see if that comes up with anything.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah, they'll look probably a lot darker. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of cool, and we'll keep you up to date. We'll update you when we get more news.
Yeah. We're gonna let you know what happens with this.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do our own analysis.
Mm-hmm. Brian, what would it be like if we were a live news show?
No, hey, look.
I mean, we are a live news show, but Merseyside Jaws.
I didn't have to go too far, and I found another picture that was not entirely dissimilar.
There's big monsters everywhere, man. Where's this? This is Liverpool. Maybe it jumped really far.
Well, look, that is just the size of a boat. That's in the ocean. That's probably just a boat.
Yeah, that looks like a boat too. It may be like a boat overturned or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not that.
Anyway,
it's different in Loch Ness because it's a lake. That's why it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same with like the rumors of whales that live in lakes and things like that. You know, it's lake whales.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's really interesting though. Whales, you think whales are pretty friggin' big.
Yeah.
And pretty hard to miss.
Yeah.
But the ocean's also pretty big.
Yeah. So is Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
And
it's pretty large.
I didn't realize until a couple years ago I was reading that there's still species of whale being discovered on a fairly regular basis. Beaked whales in particular, they're basically deep sea whales. They can hold their breath for an extremely long time. They're not very big, and they're pelagic. They don't really come near the shores.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of species of beaked whales that some of them are only known by a couple specimens. They've never seen a live specimen, couple beaches is all that they know.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of purported whale species that people aren't not sure if they exist or not.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
Also, there's a lot of water, and it's hard to see in water, even with radar and sonar and things like that. When I was in Iceland, the fjord I was in was called Eyjafjörður, and apparently during the winter I may have misunderstood this, but apparently during the winter there's up to like 80 humpback whales living in this fjord, and over 150 in the summer, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's only like it's pretty long. It's one of the longest fjords. It's like a 20, 30-mile fjord or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's big, but think about it. Like 80 whales, it's a lot of whales. Yeah. And when you really think about it, they're not very big. So imagine Lake Michigan, which looks like an ocean when you stand on the edge of it, trying to find whales in that thing. It'd be really hard.
Are people saying that there's whales in Lake Michigan?
No, I'm just saying. Think of Lake Michigan is one of the bigger bodies of water that's not an ocean.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to find whales in that, and the possibility is a real possibility, not just a sort of fictitious imaginary goose chase of whale chase.
So yeah, there's that junk right there.
Boom.
Loch Ness Monster. Hey, by the way, should we talk about our own project that we're working on?
No, not yet.
No. Okay.
The Pope.
Secrets, guys. You don't even know.
Space Pope.
We're not talking about this news that we basically found out was fake, but we want to talk about it anyway because we wish
it's kind of cool. I read an article on a very unreliable website. Oh, which I can actually get again. Wait, let me see if I can get the website that got rid of the article. Where did it go? No, that's not it. Here we go. The website is iuv.com. I don't know what that means. And the tagline is I am power, love, absolute. Absolute limits.
Find this?
I don't remember. Anyway, IUV, the will and the word of I. IUV, gift has been accepted. I and the UV exchange. It's a weird website. I don't know what it's about. It says 404, this page cannot be found, which means they deleted this article. Basically, this article was like, the Pope, in a recent speech, was basically like, hey, it's totally possible that there's intelligent life on other planets. I believe in aliens, which would be a huge deal for the Pope, who is the dude that talks about God. You know, he's like the closest connection we have to God besides
me and Sam.
Besides us, you know. So it's a really big deal that the Pope would say that the God is that there's aliens. Unfortunately, apparently, this is not the case. I looked into it a little bit more, and it seems that a couple of dudes that may or may not have been crazy. I didn't read very much in this article. I just thought it wasn't real. But basically, these guys wrote like a, I think have written some kind of weird book, which I hope I want to get my hands on and read. But it seems that this book, basically, they're predicting that this Pope, Pope Francis, is the last Pope, based on some weird prophecy, and will create so much disillusionment in the church that it'll go away, and the Pope will actually claim a new Messiah, messiahship, will claim messiahship in an extraterrestrial that will eventually visit Earth. Apparently, that's what this book says. So I think that's probably that's the only thing that I could find about the Pope and extraterrestrials. So I'm assuming that's what this article on this weird, crazy person's blog was about. Was about these dudes saying that the Pope, in fulfilling a prophecy, will announce that he believes that the next Messiah will be from space.
Most prophecies, I gotta say, about aliens and popes don't end well for most people.
It's true.
I mean, they don't ever happen, so it's fine. But if the prophecy were to come true, it usually would be cool. There's a prophecy that I can get behind, man. I'm really hoping no more Catholic Church, alien Messiah. I like all these. I like all of this.
You know why I like this Pope?
Why?
Because he reminds me of a Buddhist.
Yes.
That's why I like this Pope. He reminds me of a Buddhist. He's pretty cool.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all. Space Pope.
Mm-hmm.
But not really. Not a crocodilian space Pope.
No, not yet.
Your turn, Brian.
Oh no! I'm out of shit.
No, you're not.
I got nothing to do.
Yeah, you do.
Well, we've been doing this thing. I don't know if we want to talk about it because me and Sam have a lot of projects right now, and one of them is I won't get too deep into it, but it's we had an idea for a gallery show made of video games, and it came to Sam in a dream.
I had a dream of this project. I dreamt this, and I am determined to bring it through to fruition in whatever that word may entail.
So anyway, I've been learning how to...
Period. I've been learning.
How to hack game ROMs, which is... Well, ROM is, what you play on an emulator, so you can play video games on your computer. And you can write something called an ITS file. I can't remember what it is. You write basically a sequence of changes, and you patch it to your original ROM, and it fucks it up. Now, most of these people use them to make like new levels for games, and they will basically make a whole second game based on the same engine, all that stuff. People, fix bugs with them. People do all kinds of fun stuff with ROM games. A lot of them are just, they'll retexture. I watched like a whole bunch that were just, Super Mario 64 with different color schemes.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I've seen the Super Mario with different colors. I've seen that.
People do something very interesting. And I downloaded a version of Super Mario Kart called Super Mario Kart Bitches and Hoes Edition. And it's really kind of, it's everything that I want to see.
I found some images here.
Yeah, this to me is like the highest form of art.
It doesn't tell a whole lot about what this is, but I'm excited to look it up.
Yeah, well, I have it on my computer, Sam. We can play it right now.
Okay, well, let's not play right now because we're busy.
Yeah.
But you can see some very small images here of what it appears to be is a highly glitched Mario Kart, and that looks like it's it.
Yeah, it's pretty much just broken.
Somebody just messed with the code
virtually
and saw to see what would happen.
Virtually unplayably, like visually and auditorially disassembled Super Mario Kart.
Meanwhile, we got R2-D2 with some front-loading washers and dryers.
Mm-hmm. Sexy.
Sexy. And and this guy, who's got something to say, you just know it.
Yeah, look at him.
Look at him, he's like, Anyway, back to this junk. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting to me. That looks pretty fun. It looks like it's rolling, you know what I mean? It looks like it's a screen roll.
Yeah, it's really messed up.
So that's kind of cool.
So yeah, ROMs. I want to be getting. I got some more games that I want to figure out. I'm learning how to hack them myself. And then I found out that there's these things called EverDrives, and they make them for most popular systems. Now, where you get an old cartridge and you buy a new circuit board for it, and you put it into your cartridge, and you slice a little hole in the top, and you can load ROMs onto SD cards and stick them in. So then you can play your ROMs, your hacked ROMs, on your console, and that's just the coolest.
And that's just it.
Yeah.
So what if it's a let's say it's a PlayStation 1 game, one of the black discs. You just take the SD card and you just take a lighter and you just melt them together.
You just tape it.
Oh, you just tape it on there? Man, that's awesome. That's so cool. God, that's crazy. Technology is just it's so beyond my understanding.
Yeah.
So hey, that's our show for tonight, guys.
Pretty much.
That's all we got. But
no.
We got there's some bagels in the fridge.
Oh, I'm gonna eat something. I'm gonna have dinner after this.
Me too, man. I'm straight up. Let's make some mac and cheese. Put some kale in that. Put some feet in that.
10 boxes of mac and cheese. We can't put the soy chorizo in though.
No, some feet. No, that wouldn't be good in there anyway.
That would be great.
No.
And you don't like peas either, right?
No, we can put the peas in the mac and cheese.
Okay.
It's just that it's not that I don't like peas. It's that the frozen peas are basically like eating little tiny balls of frozen water. It's like little ice cubes that taste sweet.
Okay, well, they stop being frozen once you cook them.
No, but they lose their nutritional value when they're frozen.
Oh yeah.
That's I don't mind eating. I'm not like, oh, gross. It's just like, just get some real peas. But then again, I don't like real peas, so I don't like frozen peas. Because regular peas taste like butts. Just like that. They taste just like that. I'm really glad we got that censoring going on down there. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to watch the show next week, or else spiders will come eat your eyes out, and then I will throw your corpse into a ravine and then pee on you.